Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, on occasion, we are our own worst enemy, and guess what? If you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you are in the seats with once more, as always. My name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are listening, do us that kindness and hit the subscribe button. Ring that bell, give us the old 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel, so you can give us a like and subscribe there as well. We'd really appreciate it. Also, check us out on the social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, God knows where else, at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it even more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So do us that eternal kindness and pay us a visit. On this episode, we got a fun one. It is in theaters now, and I mean, I highly recommend this one. It is a real, fun piece of indie cinema from our friends down south, and it is called "Sometimes I Think About Dying," starring Daisy Ridley, and it's the story of Fran, who is played by Daisy, who likes to think about dying. But she has this habit of making the new guy at work laugh quite a bit, which leads to them dating and more, and all these terrifying things that come when you actually end up talking to other people and letting down those barriers that we so easily put up, especially during the pandemic, and forgotten how to sort of socially socially interact with one another. It's really it's really a quality piece of cinema, and I mean, it speaks to sort of the societal disconnect that so many of us out there in the universe are feeling right now. But I mean, in advance of it hitting theaters today, like I said, go check it out as soon as you can. But we had the unique pleasure of sitting down and talking with the director, Rachel Lambert, and the co-star, Dave Merheje, about their work on the film and so very much more. But like I said, please go check out "Sometimes I Think About Dying," which is playing in select theaters now. But first, enjoy our talk with Rachel and Dave, because between you and me, it's a pretty darn good one. All right, well, obviously, Rachel, Dave, I mean, just to kick this off, I mean, thank you so much for the time today, and congrats on the movie. I loved it.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm so
you.
glad you liked it.
Now, I mean, Rachel, I guess my first question is for you, because, like, I'm dying to hear sort of the origin of the story of getting this film made, because I mean, not only is it so uniquely toned and so really quite beautiful, Daisy kind of kept this on the DL, on the low, until you guys were ready to sort of say, oh, by the way, she's produced and shot a movie. Like, I'm dying to hear sort of the early days of this production.
Well, I mean, keeping things quiet is just more the mode that I don't know. I think that's just the way that Alex and I like to do things. We like to make things and then talk about it later. But getting it made, I mean, that's Alex Sachs. That's Alex Sachs. And she doesn't just get things made, right? She loves art and she loves artists, truly. Not what they can bring her, but what they make. And so she trusts them. And by trusting us, we have true collaboration. And she allows for that space to create, and she's enthusiastic about it. And that's an incredibly rare thing to come across. And I have such faith in her all the time. Like, I just feel like she can do anything, and she can make possible in art, in cinematic art, what I would normally think is impossible, but she can do it. I think she approaches problem solving from a place of innovation, openness, creativity, and patience. So we're always in great hands with her.
What was it about the play, though, specifically that kind of drew you in, that made you want to tell this on the screen?
Well, I didn't have anything to do with the play. I didn't have anything to do with
But
the
I mean,
play
like, sort of
or
the
the
source
writing.
material. Yeah.
Yeah, I had nothing. I didn't. I don't know anything about the source material. I was just sent the feature script
Okay.
by Alex, and I loved it. And I loved what it was not only saying, but how it was saying it. And I loved Fran, and I loved that there was such opportunity with the film to um play visually in a way that I hadn't been invited to before, and to have a lot of rigor and compositional invention. That seemed really exciting. It's a first person narrative, so in terms of the edit, that seemed really exciting. And the thesis statement of the film is precisely in line with my own philosophies. So it felt like this perfect opportunity. And the first conversation that I had with Alex about getting it made was, of course, who's going to play Fran. And the first person I said is, this is Daisy Ridley's film if she wants it. And she thankfully did.
Love it. Now, I mean, Dave, I've got to ask because I mean, this is such. I mean, while we see the structure of sort of the romance and the romantic comedy, the beats of it all hit at a different rhythm. And I mean, I think that's kind of what drew me in. Like, walk me through, I guess, your initial reaction to the script and reading for it and finding this character.
I thought it was I thought it was unique. It was very different. It told like a different story. I was drawn to Fran's character because I saw certain parts of that in me. Saw stuff in Robert that I was like, oh, I wish I could be more like in certain situations, like his outgoingness when he's talking to people in public, even though I'm a performer, stand up and an actor. It's just I hate presentations. Like if you make me go do that, it's just like I
Right.
just humble, but like it just had a different, completely unique. A part of one of the actors, he said when we were filming, he's like it was like a poem. I don't know. He would say he said that a couple times, and it just had this beautiful, beautiful story. And then this person wanting to make a connection, and this Fran's resistance. And then finally, like, what Rachel says, it's like, getting donuts. It's like, we don't look at these things. I think we don't. We kind of like, especially now with like technology and how fast paced it is, like these things that, we just kind of, we don't look how beautiful they are. Going to get someone donuts, or like Rachel was saying, making eye contact on the subway, being like, if you see somebody in public and you're like, yo, hey, and then they get rattled. That's how much people aren't talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, what's going on? And then you're like, man, I was just saying hi.
Like, what do you want? And it's like, whoa.
So crazy. So it's like, I don't know, it just had this world that was there. And then what Rachel created was just something I wanted to be a part of.
Well, and Rachel, I mean, the film has such a fascinating visual aesthetic. I mean, just from the way I mean, the way you have the camera sort of hold on Fran, especially in some of these moments where she's just sitting there eating, or they're like she's in the background or it's pulled away. And I mean, even sort of in the initial meetings between Fran and Dave's character, you've got a colorful sweater on, she's in all plaid, plain and tan. Like we can see this wall, like we can physically see the visual wall this woman is putting up. Like,
Mhm.
how important was it for you to really create, I guess, that sense of distance from a visual standpoint, even though these are two characters who are essentially getting to know each other and falling in love?
Well, I actually would push back. I don't think they're falling in love. Um, that's not how I saw it. But I think that's interesting that you did. I think that's cool. Um, I love that there's space for people to have their own experience with the film, you know? I love that. That's always what I'm hoping for. That it's not just me only having one story being told at any given time. I mean, using all the tools of cinema to indicate the inner lives of your characters and the motifs and the symbols and the thematics, all those literary elements that can live in a film, and to signpost that, and to well, I mean, it's not signposting, it's actually just using them as literary elements. They can be cinematic elements. I think they have been, and cinema's at its best when you're exploiting that. And so yeah, that's definitely the way that I approach making films, is to see it as that kind of art, where you can use literary elements visually and exploit them towards building a deep, complex internal experience for the viewer, like much like when you read a novel.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And I mean, maybe just to even correct myself. I mean, maybe, I'm not even sure if it is love, but I think it's sort of that impending terror that they might be, or they could be.
That's nicely put. I like that, the impending terror that they might be. Oh, that's really good. I like that.
Now, I mean, Dave, I'm curious because, I mean, obviously in the film, as you're going back and forth with Fran, and I mean, there are these moments where traditionally we have these emotional flourishes. And I mean, obviously, your character's going to have them as Fran's does as well, but they're not done, they're done almost in a whisper rather
Yeah.
than sort of the traditional sort of drama of it all. It almost like even Fran's line of like, do you wish you could unknow me? Like there was a real tragedy there. And I
Mm.
mean, I'm curious, like it all felt like it was being played very tragically, not sort of in sort of the traditional dramatic sense, like the, oh my God, this is horrible, but I'm withering away kind of sense.
Yeah, I felt like real life. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, with movies, sometimes you'll have scenes where you're like, oh, would you say that, man? Like, or you would, that doesn't make any, I mean, I haven't even heard that in real life. Kind of, this felt
Right.
like I've been in situations, it's not the same, but this girl I was seeing, she was like, why would I give all myself to you if at some point you can take that and shatter it? And then I just remember being like, well, I mean, how am I don't know how to be with you then. Like, I mean, then we're done. Like, what are we doing here? So there was a situation I was in where there was that kind of battle, kind of reminiscent to Fran and Robert, where I was like, I really can't even, I want to love you. I want to get to fall for you, but I can't. You're not allowing me to get the gears ready to do that at all, because you're not allowed, and it's just frustrating. It's just like you have your pace and I have my pace, and it's not matching, kind of thing. So I think these tragic moments like that are just real life. Like, it felt like real humans talking, as opposed to, watching something like Hitch. I don't know why. That's it.
Dave Merheje throws Hitch under the bus.
No, I had throwing a hitch under the. I
You
actually
just blew it, you just blew your audition for Hitch too. I'm just telling you that right now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I just meant like I like Hitch, but it's like, it's just, it felt more, where the guy or the girl don't always have to be so cool or so charming in the traditional way. It's just like nobody's really built like that. It's just like these are just two people that, hey, I'm trying.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I think that really is the magic of it. I mean, just to put a bow on this from both your perspectives, because we've had movies in the past where people connect and then they disconnect. We've never had really the experience of the disconnect and then really get under an understanding of the pain and the struggle to reconnect, which again, like,
Mm.
to your point, Dave, is life. Like from
Mhm.
like as more and more people see this, like what do you think or hope more and people will pull away from it? Because to me, this was really just a highlight of the reality of, the disc, it's like, being scared is easy, being lazy is easy, putting in the work is hard. It's
Mm.
it's the hard work of it that feels like is the thing that we're almost shying away from. And we have to kind of admit it to ourselves, if that makes any kind of sense to both of you.
I mean, that's the answer. You just did it. I mean, what could I say now? That was great. I'm serious. That's great.
Nobody wants to work hard, dude.
Mm. Well,
No.
no, I mean, it's like digital space makes disposability of people so much. If we had if we had fictions in cinema that made supporting characters in a romance, or like even makes characters sort of dismissible. It's like the minute they leave frame, they don't exist. Certainly that idea that if they leave frame, they don't exist can now permeate our social media, our computers, our phones. There's a kind of dismissibility or disposability of human beings that has kind of seeped into even the most casual interactions in our day, including going to get a coffee.
Yeah.
And I think certainly to be a part of a project that's sort of showing the reality that you can't just, oh, that didn't work out, by dismiss, that's not real, and that's also not sustainable. I think examining that, or making that at least a part of how this relationship is presented and explored is unique.
Well, I think you've done, and you just said that beautifully yourself. But I mean,
Thanks, Dave.
honestly, thank you both for doing the hard work and really giving us this very human and, sad, but also really kind of beautiful story that I absolutely loved. I can't wait for more people to see it.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Really
All
appreciate
righty.
that.